Hey y'all, getting close to sunset here. I'm just out checking out the upper part of the pasture. I have not even had cattle out on this yet this year. So I'm just sort of checking out what kind of level of grass and other forage is out here. And it's kind of mixed. Some of the areas that were still kind of bare are still kind of bare, and others are looking pretty decent. And there's a lot of grass in here that's going to be good forage for them when I get them up in here. I mean, this is not Missouri or Alabama where you got tons of. There's a little deer right there. I'm just scared out of this little patch of woods here. There's not tons of fescue or anything like that. We've got native grasses here, but you can see they're starting to grow now that it's heating up. I mean, we're having a lot of days here that are 100+ degrees. We get a little bit of rain, and we'll be doing really well. But we're not looking at having any rain here for the next week and a half or so, at least, according to the forecast anyway, unless there's a little pop-up thunderstorm that comes through, which is a possibility almost always. But this area back in here, I had the cows in this quite a bit last year, and it's really growing kind of lush in here. This first row, you can see the fence right there. This first row I split up into, I don't know, a couple dozen temporary paddocks during the year last year, and they went through this I think they probably saw this section about 3 times during the rotations I did last year. So they had quite a bit of impact on this. And I think this looks a lot better than it did last year, that's for darn sure. And I guess that's what we're looking for, is to make progress. It's not all going to happen all at once. Got a lot of grasshoppers this year. You can hear the doves in the trees. And this little bottom section down here is where I'm going to be taking them next. Oh, there go more deer. Got a lot of forage down in here. Got them up at the front of the property, near where I had that last video. Moved them over to the other side of the front of the property. Not quite as much there, but I'm giving it to them anyway. There's a good couple days worth of forage over there, and then and I think I'm going to head them up this direction and get them into this little section of pasture right in here, and kind of bring them up through here. And we got this little section of woods. I usually bring them up to here, and then I will back fence right about where I'm pointing right now and continue to go farther up the pasture and give them the ability to get back into this this little section of woods for some shade, and I'll put their water down here. So they're not always out in the sun, even though they do quite well in it, but giving them a little bit of shade is not going to hurt them any. So this is part of what I do, just sort of walk around and take inventory of what I have on the pasture and try to decide where I'm going to go. I've got a like an aerial photograph of the property that I've divided up into I forget how many paddocks, or sections, really not paddocks, but I think maybe 18 or 20 of them, and I sort of keep records of where they've been and how long they were on a section, and then I work them through each of those sections. And then I can keep track of how much productivity I've gotten out of each of these areas, and won't necessarily bring them back to the same area quite so fast. You keep track of it, but you gotta play what hand you're given. So where there's forage, that's where you gotta head sometimes. But they'll be coming through here pretty soon. Plenty to hit here. Got a lot of cactus in this area, a lot of prickly pear. I think I'm going to try to get out the propane torch and burn off the needles on this. Just have to be careful not to light everything else on fire. That would not be good. And probably best to wait to do that until after a shower. So I know cattle like to eat these pear leaves as long as there's not too many needles on them. So the neighbor's cows complaining about something. Mine are pretty happy up in the front of the property. But getting kind of dark now. I think it's time to shut this off. Anyway, see you next time.